Here's a short story about a husband who handles things like a boss. Upon finding out that his wife is cheating on him, you're going to see that this husband, before they got married, made it clear he can handle a lot, but the one thing he cannot handle or will not tolerate is disloyalty. So what does she do? She is disloyal. And this whole thing is her big crybaby fest about looking for pity, attention, all that. And it goes to show you guys, never tolerate it. And of course, I might add, how a guy could be the perfect guy on paper, treat her really great, and still she messes the whole thing up. But of course, wants pity. Titled, I, a 28-year-old female, destroyed my marriage to the perfect man. Now I'm living in a hell of my own making. And a shout out to Bill for sending over this story. She says here, I got married to the man who is now my ex-husband 3 years ago. He wasn't just a good guy, he was the kind of man people tell you do not exist. Before our marriage, he told me, I can handle anything that life throws at us, poverty, sickness, distance, but the one thing I will never tolerate is a lack of loyalty. In other words, don't freaking cheat on me. That is my only non-negotiable, and I promised him forever, and I meant it then. Well, the first 2 years were bliss. He didn't just bring me flowers. He remembered the specific type of lilies I liked and surprised me with them on random Tuesdays just to see me smile. He was emotionally available, listened to my mindless rants after work, and making me feel like the only woman in the world. I was so wrapped up in his safety and love that I became arrogant. I got too comfortable. I started treating his devotion like a renewable resource that would never run out. So, this guy, in my opinion, went way too far with the special treatment of her. I mean, of course you treat someone you care about well, but you could tell it wasn't reciprocated. He went too far. He was treated like the queen. And therefore, she starts treating him like a fan. You can't do that, or treating him like a jester. That complacency opened the door to my own destruction. I slipped into a situationship with another guy in his early 20s. It wasn't about love. It was about the cheap thrill of being desired by someone new. A dopamine hit of, wait for it, validation. I want to tell you guys about the attention and validation. It's a drug. I told myself it was harmless because it was not physical. I never kissed him. I never slept with him, but I gave the stranger the parts of me that belonged to my husband. My attention, my flirty banter, and my secrets. For 2 months, I lived in a fog of virtual lust. I'm not quite buying this whole thing that nothing else ever happened. No thanks. Well, I cut it off after 2 months, realizing how stupid I was, but it was too late. My husband is perceptive. He didn't scream or throw things, he just found out. And this is the thanks this husband gets. Now, the husband obviously was a good guy. He was a little too giving of those things to her. Now watch this. Well, the confrontation was devastatingly quiet. I confessed everything, terrified by the coldness in his eyes. Yeah, honey, there's no way you confessed everything. We weren't born yesterday. He asked me for my phone, and for 2 agonizing days, he went through everything. Then he made a strange request. He asked me to record a video confessing to the emotional affair. He told me, I won't divorce you, but I need this for my own peace of mind and future safeguard. Smart. Very smart. Relieved and desperate to fix things, I did it. I poured out my confession on camera, thinking I was saving my marriage. No, dumbass, you were not. You were sealing your divorce. He then told me that he needed some space. He left me in our house and went to stay at his parents' house for 2 weeks. I spent those days paralyzed with anxiety, waiting for him to come back so we could start over. Well, you're going to be waiting a long time, sweetheart. I didn't know that while I was waiting, he was methodically visiting lawyers. He had taken everything, the exported chats, the photos, the call logs, and my video confession. Damn. Just when people thought this guy was a pushover, and I guarantee you she thought he was a pushover and she could get away with it, nope. Well, he didn't come home. He sent me divorce papers with a message to keep it mutual and dignified. My world collapsed. For the next few months, I begged. I sent letters, I called, I stood outside his parents' house. It was like shouting into a void. He had flipped a switch. The man who used to look at me with adoration now looked at me like I was a stranger. Well, she was a dumbass that perceived his kindness for weakness. Wrong. He valued loyalty above everything else, and I'd broken the one rule he gave me. I didn't even try to fight for alimony. I knew I was the villain in this story. Well, that's hard to believe, but okay. Well, it's been 11 months since the divorce was finalized. I'm writing this from an empty apartment that feels too quiet. The weight of what I lost is crushing physically. It's a heaviness in my chest that never goes away. Well, notice how she's not talking about that she went and raced out to that dude she was having the fling with. That guy probably dumped her. I wish I could travel back in time and shake my past self and scream, he's the best thing that will ever happen to you. Don't throw away for a cheap thrill. Well, unless you have a time machine or the time stone, you're not going to be able to do that, sweetie. But time only moves forward. The pain doesn't fade. You just learn to live with the nausea of regret. I'm not asking for sympathy. Yes, you are. I'm not justifying what I did. I just need to bleed this out somewhere because carrying it alone is suffocating. If you have a partner who loves you, who respects you, and who makes you their world, cherish them. Guard that love with your life, because the moment you think the grass is greener, you might just find yourself standing alone in a wasteland. Well, I'm not feeling bad for her, and I think her husband was the freaking boss how he handled it. But let's just say for argument's sake that she means that, or at least means that in the moment. That's usually how they work. Okay, learn from your mistake, honey. And the next time you have a good guy, don't screw it up. But we'll see about that. Now, a few comments here to wrap this up. One guy says here, you deserve it. And I hope in the future when you meet another guy, you have the respect and decency to put weight on marriage, understands you and your man. Your husband noticed the red flag and dipped. He dodged a bullet. Women like you seek and enjoy validation from other men. Don't stop. That's right, because it's a drug. Another one. You effed up and now you live with the consequences of your choices. You should see a therapist and figure out why you self-sabotage a good relationship with a good man for nothing. Well, they don't all do that, but a hell of a lot do. I admire your ex, how he handled everything with grace, and although he loved you, he followed through with his boundaries. He told you from the start what he would not tolerate, and you knowing that made the choice to cheat, even if it wasn't physical. You emotionally checked out and let another guy's attention towards you destroy your marriage. What did you think would happen when he found out? Right, and that's when she would say, I was in the affair fog, or some BS like that. And last one, the guy says, the best thing you should do is work on yourself and don't be in a relationship until you are ready. As for him, let him be. He doesn't need an apology or closure from you. He needs time and space to heal and learn to trust again. I don't think that ex-husband is ever going to trust again, at least not in the way that he did before. He walked away from that wiser, but now, thanks to her, he had to go through a freaking divorce. It sounds like, according to her, she didn't challenge him for alimony and stuff like that. But still, nobody wants to go through the divorce. He obviously loved her, and his heart was broken. But he was smart enough not to trust her because typically, well, let me rephrase that. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Because if he would have taken her back after all that, I guarantee when she got bored again, she would just be dismissed into his attention and his affection and would get right back into it. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not believing this whole song and dance that there was nothing else going on. It was just texting or whatever the heck it was. I think there was way more than that. I think she's trickled truthing us. So anyhow, that guy handled it like a boss.